So this is the $249.99 on a 400 Lite, and as the name suggests, is pretty light in all sense. In terms of the processor that's in there is $249.99, and this might be the case in point when it comes to not all cheap phones a good purchase. Sometimes it's worth just adding a bit extra and getting something else on the market. This might be one of those devices, but I'll talk to you about why. Let's start with the design. So as far as the design goes, this is not too shabby at all. This weighs just 171 grams. And in terms of the thickness, we're talking 7.29 millimeters thick. This is the Mars green version. It's also available in velvet gray and velvet black. This has a nice matte finishing. So in terms of the reflectiveness and when it comes to things like fingerprint, this is not going to suffer from that. Although the camera array area there does have this shiny material which might attract fingerprint, but that's not going to be a big issue here at all. We've got the Honor logo on the back there as well. And then we have this nice curved edges, which makes it nice and comfortable to hold in hand. And it's got a nice finishing to it as well. In terms of the buttons, we have a volume rocker there. We have a power button there. There's also a dedicated camera button there, which they call the camera AI button, which we'll talk about further down this video. And then on the bottom, we have the USB-C port, speaker grills there as well. And also you have your SIM card tray. And then on the left side here, there's nothing and just sits flush. And on top, just got a microphone there with nothing else going on around the device. So nice and simple, nice and clean, which looks really nice. I think they've done a really good job in terms of the design, especially for the device that costs just $249.99. Well, starts from $249.99. For durability, we're talking IP64 rating, and you can use this underwater, and you can even get your gloves on and still be able to use it as well, which is not bad at all. For that display, this is a 6.7-inch AMOLED display, and it's 1080 by 2412 in terms of the pixel count, and then, well, resolution. And then you have 120 Hertz support, which is good for gaming, and this will give you 3,500 nits of peak brightness, which isn't too bad at all. And for that PWM dimming, we're talking 3,840 Hertz, and it's got ebook mode as well, which I think is pretty smart for $249. I think the highlight here is the price point, so you have to bear that in mind when it comes to the makeup and setup of this device generally. For the camera on the back, we have a 108 megapixel main camera. Then we have a 5 megapixel wide and depth camera as well. And then when we spin it around for the front camera, we have a 16 megapixel front facing camera. Again, I'll show you some samples so you can see how well it performs in the real world. For performance, we have 5,230 milliamp hour battery in there, so this will last you a whole day and then some. It doesn't struggle when it comes to battery at all. It has a Dimensity 7025 Ultra in there. It has 8 gigabytes of RAM and 256 gigabytes of internal storage, and it's running on Magic OS 9.0, which is based on Android 15. And this will support 35-watt supercharge. I think when it comes to that performance, it does really well when it comes to gaming. You can play Call of Duty on here with no issues at all. You can even play Genshin Impact as well. You have that 120 Hertz refresh, which isn't too bad, especially for that price point, like I said from the start of this video. So I think they've done a really good job there. In fact, this would be a good test bed or a good demo of what MediaTek can do in terms of being able to offer all the AI things that you probably know about for flagship device, being able to have it in a device that costs this much money. So I think this is a big credit to MediaTek being able to achieve that using their processor. When it comes to the software, generally things run pretty fluid and smooth. I haven't run into any hiccups at all. I haven't used it for a while now. And you do get some bloatware on there, which I don't need to have. Things like Timu and Real Shorts, I don't need those on my phone, but you can remove some of them if you wish to do so. If we go into settings, we see some of the options available as well, especially when we go into display and brightness settings. So we have things like dark mode, you can do eye comfort and sleep, that's available to you. You have ebook mode, which I was talking about earlier, so that will save battery life whilst you just want to read books. And also when it comes to things like your smart resolution, you can do that as well. And your screen refresh rate, you can have it to be dynamic, so you can have up to 120 Hertz, or we can have standard, which will go up to 60 Hertz, or you can have high, which is just set at the highest rate possible for whenever you need to do things like scrolling, gaming, and so on and so forth. For security, we do have fingerprint ID and also face recognition available, although I wouldn't say the face recognition is the safest out there, but it is there for convenience. You also have Google Gemini built in as well, which is great, which means you can do all the AI things that comes with Google Gemini. So if that's something that you like to use, you can have that on here as well. Back to that camera button that we have on the side. So you can do things like pressing it to immediately open your camera so you can start taking pictures with it. You can also use it to take photos like a shutter button. If I come out of it completely, you can press and hold it and that will go onto Google Lens, which then allows you to then do things like find what you can see on the screen. So if you're out and about and you see a plant, for example, you'll be able to use it to dictate all those things. Although this will set you back $249.99 here in the UK, it doesn't mean you get good level of results when it comes to that camera performance. You do get 108 megapixel, but it doesn't always translate to what that actually might sound like to you. So when it comes to the photos, for example, taking a selfie, it does a great job at the front-facing camera, so great skin tone and the color accuracy is good. But when you zoom in, that's when you start to lose detail and it becomes a bit grainy and it's not the best of shots or some, out there. But you can still post it on social media if that's something that you want to do. Generally, the photos look fine in terms of the focal length. So when you zoom in or 1x or whatever, all looks fine to me. It's when you start to shoot at nighttime, that's when the quality diminishes. So you don't get a really good quality when it comes to low light photography. Like for example here, you can see the lights is completely blown out there. So that's probably unusable for my style of photography. If I was to post that online, I probably wouldn't. That's something to bear in mind. 1x looks fine. Yeah, the highlights are better. And then when we look at it ultra wide, again, it's just blown out everywhere and it's not the best when it comes to low light performance. So that is something to bear in mind. But in daytime, I think it looks fine to share on social media and whatnot. You do get some grainy effect in terms of like over sharpening, over processing. So that's something to bear in mind there. But I think overall, it's fine for the kind of people that would buy in this and what you want to do with it. It's just low light performance is where it starts to lack in terms of performance. When it comes to software aspect as well, you can also do some AI things like AI eraser. You can doodle on it as well. You can do so much more in there. So if you want to play about with stuff like that, you can play about with it and remove subjects after the fact. But going back to the camera interface, you get night photography there. You got portraits, you got photo, you got video. Video, you can shoot 1080p up to 30 frames per second. So again, it doesn't quite catch up with some of other devices on the market that can shoot 4K at 30 frames per second, for example. You have Pro mode available to you as well. When you click more, this is where you can make you can take full advantage of the high res mode. So you can do that full resolution that the sensor can capture. So you can do that in that more settings. But that's pretty much it in terms of what you can do and what that looks like. Overall, not a bad device at all. You can do some gaming on it. Camera's not too bad in daytime. It's when it comes to low light photography and video, that's when you start to notice where they've sort of cut back in terms of what this can actually do. But like I said, though, you get a bunch of AI features on there that the MediaTek empowers, which I think is really good. And it just shows what MediaTek is capable of, whilst still giving you a good price points to experience what AI is all about. And then, yeah, just generally feels really nice and premium as well, especially for a cheap device like this one. So low entry Android phone like this one. But I think overall, not a bad device at all. It has its quirks, as is good, as is negatives as well. But overall, I think it has positives. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you have any questions, let me know as well. I do my best to answer your questions. And thanks for watching. See you in the next one.